An orthoptist and
Say that again?
an orthoptist, which
That's
is
the English
basically,
term. Is that like an ophthalmologist?
No, we're under the umbrella of ophthalmology. You have optometrists and opticians, and we also have orthoptists, which is what I am as a clinician, where the core of our treatment is treating children with lazy eye.
Fine.
And
That's a
also,
uniquely British activity that there is no equivalent in the States. No
It isn't. There
is it?
Yes.
So I just
it
never
is.
ran into one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also Muslim balance as well, but I'm actually just going to focus on the lazy eye because that's the core of my business really. What was I going to say? Sorry, so if I just show you, I think amblyopia, or medically known as lazy eye disease, is basically a reduction in the vision of one eye once it's been diagnosed. And the main form of treatment that has been happening for centuries really is basically patching or covering the better seeing eye to stimulate the lazy eye to a reasonable level of vision. Research has shown that by treatment, children have actually reached to a certain level of vision, but not quite optimal vision, which is 20/20 or 6/6 vision, which is only 22% of those children. And there are other factors that's underlying why children who are given this form of treatment are not actually achieving optimal vision by the time they are being discharged from the clinic. The factors are, number one, the patch itself could be rather plain and boring and late.
So they don't want to wear it.
So they don't want to wear it. Bullying factors for victimisation, and parents don't find it cosmetically appealing for their child to wear outside of home. There are companies that have actually realised that there is a niche in the market, so they've actually produced better looking patches that could be gender specific for boys and for girls, etc.
Okay.
However, the treatment that I've done in extensive research that I've done as per the research is that treatment is effective by patching the better eye. However, the numbers are still small, and that's the reason why they're actually leaving the clinics with poor vision. And poor vision as a child, you're left with poor vision as an adult.
You focus on the actual issue, and the actual issue is that you're not achieving the results, and you think you have a better way.
So at the moment is I have a prototype that I'd like to have produced to actually overcome the pitfalls of patching treatment itself. And
meaning you're going to change the treatment, or you're going to make it more likely children will wear it?
Well, yeah, I'm going to
Which
more
is
likeable for children to wear it, but make it more effective, because the specifications on certain patches don't actually reach the treatment in itself because of the issues related to the patch design itself.
What is the issue?
Light still penetrates through the patch.
Okay, so were I pitching your business, I would have said the following. I treat lazy eyes. There are two issues with lazy eye treatment. One, children choose not to wear the patch, and two, some of the patches permit light to get through.
Yeah.
I am going to create a patch that is more attractive to the child and is more impermeable to light, thus increasing the effectiveness of the treatment and the likelihood of a successful outcome, and therefore have a better product.
Yeah.
Now I've just said in 5 sentences what you just spent quite a bit of time waffling around. You need to stay very narrow in a pitch like this, because people get confused very quickly if they're not you and I, and they're not involved in anything professional at all.
Right.
Deal?
Yeah, deal.
Deal.
Yeah.
God knows I would never be able to repeat what you said, but you could, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Right. Stick with the narrow.
Okay.
You got a real value, potential value, right? Right. Now moving on.
So we're having a look at the patent search at the moment to see whether there's anything in the market that has the prototype that I would like to bring on a commercial sector basically. So I'm looking at two things. Once the patent's been submitted, is do I go ahead and manufacture and then sell to the healthcare sector, or do I involve a company and get them to
produce
take
you essentially license it to somebody else
to license
sell.
it to another company.
And is that the question you'd like me to help you answer?
And also, I'm also looking at funding issues as well to see whether that can have any,
It will have a bearing, because the former process is much more capital intensive than the latter. If you license it to somebody else, they will take on most, if not all, of the capital costs. That's not the concern, that's the opportunity.
Yeah.
The concern is that they don't give you enough profit from it.
Yes, the royalties.
Exactly.
Right.
I think it depends largely on your desires. Well, let me be precise. First, it depends on whether or not this patch can be proved to be better.
Yeah.
That's a challenge. You can imagine all the steps you're going to have to take to go through that. But you could certainly make the assertion rationally enough. You could show that some of the patches are permeable to light, and therefore impermeability is better than permeability. So that's an easy thing to show, just by showing your patch is better. You can certainly show that your patches are better designed and therefore more attractive, by simply having a bunch of kids in a room pick out your patches over somebody else if you do a
Right.
little focus group or something.
Right.
So you can basically kind of prove the hypotheses you're putting in front of the test of the value of the product.
Yeah.
Then the question is, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to be running a business? Or do you want to be making money and moving on to the next activity? Where are you at? Because that's really going to determine which model. One model's not per se better than another.
Right.
There are advantages to licensing, because whoever you license to, you now have the privilege of choosing the people who are most likely to succeed.
Right.
Because you don't pick the person who gives you the biggest commission. You pick the people who are the ones who are most likely to get the product into the market and sell it in very high volume.
Right.
Because your royalty will only be meaningful in volume. So if you make 10% rather than 5%,
Yeah.
it's meaningless if they sell 1,000. You need them to sell 1,000,000.
Yeah.
So you want the big gun,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
I'll let you decide how you find them.
Yeah.
But first, make your case perfect, then go to the licensing. But what do you want to be doing? You want to be the next eye patch mogul? Or do you
Yeah.
want to be, so you want to run a
Yeah.
business selling them?
Yeah.
Well, then why do you ask the question?
No, I want to produce them.
Why? Why do you want to,
Yeah.
producing is neither being in the business nor licensing. That's merely the act of manufacturing.
Right.
So why is that what you want to do?
No, I think I just want the recognition of, being the person behind the inventor behind the, changing
That's a different thing now.
Yeah.
What's the name? What's your first and last name?
Select Awan, A-W-A-N, or Maz.
That's fine. Well, you know what you should be calling those? You should be calling them the Awan eye patch.
Mm.
And when you license it,
Mm.
that's what it should be called, an
Right.
Awan patch.
Mm.
Make it your name. Then you get the money, the recognition, and everything else you want.
Right.
But if you don't go into business solely so people knew it was you, wrong reason.
Yeah.
A product like this is very nicely licensed. A product like this is very difficult to build a business around.
Mm.
And so I would have inclined you towards getting the right license agreement
Mm.
after your patent.
Right, okay.
And you knew that part already.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Does it indeed?
I look